ran out of data.
Okay, so you asked me to take you through if sentences. That's what I'm going to do for today.
Yes, I did.
Yes, so if sentences, every if sentence has got two parts, or there are three types of if sentences. Some people call them if sentences, others call them conditional sentences, but it is all the same. So they are of three types. We have conditional one or if one, we have conditional two or if two, and then conditional three or if three. Yes. Yes, please.
Do I leave? I leave.
Yes, it is okay. If you cannot hear me, you can leave. I'll connect with you either through a video or through a call. We shall arrange our meeting.
Okay.
Okay. What I was saying, there are three categories or three types of if sentences. We have if one, if two, and if three. Now, each if sentence, whether it is if one or if two or if three, has got two parts. It has what you call the if clause or the subordinate clause. You can call it the if clause, you can call it the subordinate clause, or you can call it the minor clause. Then it has what you call the main clause. So those two clauses combine to form what we call an if sentence. What each clause is comprised of is what informs us whether the sentence is if one, if two, or if three, but they are always in if sentences. Okay, so what they are made up of is what informs us the kind of if sentence it is. So as you see here, we have if clause having if nuncha passes PLE. So from if to where PLE is and where you see a comma, that's what we call the if clause. The if clause contains the following things. It contains the condition to be met. So and it contains the word if, conjunction if actually. So the if clause is that one that contains, I don't know whether it is Sharon or Shamad who is in the chat, but I would request that you focus so that we can finish.
Okay? Shalom.
Sharon, you can, I want you to focus so that we can finish. When you're in the chat, we may not, we may take a lot of time. Okay, so I was saying the if clause is that one that contains the word if or the conjunction if. And then it also contains the condition to be met. The condition to be met. Then the main clause is that one that contains the result if the condition is met. For example, if Nancha passes, that is the condition. And then what will happen if she passes? She will join senior one. She will join senior one is the main clause. Note, we can also begin with the main clause and we end with the if clause. The only challenge here, or the only difference, is that when you begin with the main clause, you don't use a comma to separate the main clause from the if clause. When you begin with the if clause, after the if clause, you put a comma and then you write the main clause. When you begin with the main clause, you don't need a comma. So you will have something like Nancha will join senior one if she passes PLE. That's beginning with the main clause instead of the if clause. Before I roll to another slide, is there anyone with a question about what is on the screen or about what I have spoken about?
No.
Okay. So if one, this is now specifically if one. I was explaining all if sentences. Now we are going to focus on if one. If one goes with a present simple tense in the if clause, you should remember that the present simple tense is that tense that denotes something that is done on a regular basis. Like she goes to school, that is the present simple tense. They walk every day, that is the present simple tense. So in the if clause, of if one, we have the present simple tense, and in the main clause of if one, we have the future simple tense. That's why you will see will go, will come, will. If my mother comes today, she will take me to town. So the if clause contains the present simple tense, whereas the main clause contains the future simple tense. In if one sentences, the chances of the action of the verb happening are there and still there. So the chances that the verb, the action of the verb may happen are there and are still there. This is to say, you speak of something that is possible. If it rains today, there is a lot of probability that it can actually rain. That is if one. So here are some of the examples of if one sentences. If I eat that, I shall fall sick. If you are clever, you will pass exams. If the radio receives clever signals, the radio will receive clever signals if you adjust the area. So in sentence number 3, we have chosen to begin with the main clause instead of beginning with the if clause. So there is actually no difference. So that is about if one. I don't know if there is anybody with a question about if one.
No, I do not have a question.
Is it clear?
No, I don't have a question, teacher.
Is the explanation clear for you now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So let's continue. This is now, no, this is the zero condition. I'm not going to talk about that now. The zero condition is like if zero, but it denotes the things that are actually not even probable. It is when you do this, you get this. That's why we use the present simple in the if clause and even in the main clause. If you heat water, it boils. If you increase the volume the sound becomes high. If the radio stops working, take it to the mechanic. They are just definite. There is no condition to be met. There is no condition to be met. It actually happens once the other one is done. So that is called the zero condition because there is no condition there. So that is the zero condition. So let's get to if two, if you permit me. Now, if two goes with the past simple tense or the past continuous tense in the if clause. Its if clause, the if clause of if two is expressed in the, let me see. Okay, the if clause of if two is expressed in the past simple tense or the past conditional sense or the past continuous tense. That means if you were given such a sentence, if Nancha passes PLE, she will join senior one. If you were given such a sentence and you are required to write it in if two, you have to express the if clause in the past tense. Who can express the if clause in the past tense? This if clause of if Nancha passes PLE, which is now in the present simple, I want someone to express it in the past simple tense. Who can do that for me? Who can do that for me? Yes. I don't know that it's Sharom or Shamad.
Shalom.
Yes, Sharom.
Nankia will join senior one if she passes PLE.
No. Please go say that again.
Nakia will join senior one if she passes PLE.
I only want you to express the if clause in the past simple tense. Only the if clause. I didn't say the whole sentence. I said only the if clause. Express it in the past tense. Sharon?
I'm just thinking about how to express it.
Please say that again.
I'm thinking about how to express it.
You don't need to think so much. When I say express, I mean put it in the past tense. It doesn't take a lot of time to figure out, unless you don't know what the past tense is.
I do, teacher me.
Go ahead.
If Nakia passed PLE, she'll join senior one.
No, don't put this one, the main clause, leave the main clause because the main clause is independent.
Oh, okay. Okay, teacher.
Go ahead.
So when you express it in the past tense, do you mean say it in a different sentence?
Say that again.
When you say to express the past tense, do you mean say it in a different sentence, a different way?
Well, let me ask you also a question here to help you understand. If we are to change a sentence from one tense to another, what changes? The noun, the conjunction, or the verb? What
The
changes
verb.
from one tense to another? Is it a noun, a conjunction, or a verb? What changes? You don't know?
Teacher,
Yes?
verb.
Exactly, you don't need to, it is a verb. So which one is the verb in this if clause?
Passing, joining.
No, I said in the if clause, please listen to the instructions.
Pass is a verb.
So can you put it in the past tense? That is,
If Nakia passed PLE,
exactly, that's what I want. This is what if to is about. That the if clause is expressed in the past tense. Is that clear? In if one, it is expressed in the present simple tense. In if two, it is expressed in the past simple tense. Is that clear?
yes, it's very clear.
So let's get to the main clause now. Remember, the main clause of if one is expressed in the future simple tense. That's why you are seeing will join. That tense of will join is the future simple tense. Then let's get to the main verb, the main clause of if two. It is expressed in the conditional present tense. Conditional present tense. Now, what makes up the conditional present tense? Because I believe that's what you may not be aware of. Now, the conditional present tense or the conditional tense is comprised of the word would. The conditional tense is made up of the word would plus the infinitive. Now, when you put there the infinitive, that the infinitive is a verb in its base form. Like come, like go, like those are infinitives in its base form before changing it. So when you put would and you combine it with the verb in its base form, or what we call the infinitive, you get what we call the conditional present tense. For example, would come. That is the conditional present tense. Now, can you express this, the main clause of this sentence, the main clause of this sentence, the main clause of this sentence in the conditional present tense?
Okay. She would join senior one.
Exactly. She would join senior one. So if they gave you such a sentence, if Nancha passes PLE, she will join senior one, and they ask you to put it in if two, what will be the answer?
Please repeat.
If they gave you this very sentence, if Nancha passes PLE should join senior one, and they ask you to put in if two, what will be the answer?
If Nacha passed PLE, she would join senior one.
That is it. So you have to make sure that the if clause is expressed in the past tense and the main clause is expressed in the conditional present tense. That's the balance that you need to strike if you are to change from if one to if two. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. So this is why. Okay, someone to change this to if two. This sentence here to if two.
If I ate dirt, I would fall sick.
Exactly. You've learned it now. That is the basic principle. That's the basic rule. Okay, so let's get back to the slide where we were. So here, now this is where the mix of things where we can mix up things here. We use if to when the action of the verb is impossible. So here, the other thing that you have to learn is when I say if Nanja passed PLE, does it mean that she passed? When I say if Nanja passed PLE, does it mean that she passed?
No.
It means that she did not actually pass. So she's somewhat regretting that if we are just thinking about it, it is imaginative that if she passed, but she did not actually pass PLE. So if two is about impossibilities, just imaginations. So we have this
Teacher,
possible. Please go ahead.
you just went off for a little bit. We thought you were offline.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, very well.
Okay, so I was saying, here you see we are using helping verb were instead of was. That helping verb were is used to emphasize impossibility. If I say, if I were a lion, if I were a lion, that means I am not a lion and I will never be a lion. You get that?
Yes.
Yes.
It means I am not a lion and I will never be a lion. But when I say if I was a lion, it means I am not a lion, but I have a chance of becoming a lion. That's where the difference is. What means I am not, I will never be. Was means I am not, I have a chance of becoming. You get that?
Yes.
So when I say if I were a lion, that means I am not a lion, I will never be. So I would eat humans. Therefore, these are just imaginations. If I were a lion, I would eat humans. I would not eat humans. That's just an imagination. If I were God, I would make people live forever. You are not God and you never be God. So these are just imaginations. So if two is about those impossible situations that are just imaginable. Have I made myself clear here?
Yes.
Okay. So when we look at example 3, where we are, if my father was a teacher, my father currently is not a teacher, but he has a chance of becoming the teacher. So you cannot say if my father were a teacher, you cannot say that because it is not impossible for your father to become a teacher. So that's why you see the distinctions, the differences coming in with which helping verb to use, was or were. Were means I am not and I will never be. Was means I am not, but I can be in the future. Okay? Should I consider if to done?
Yes. I've understood everything.
Me too.
Okay, that's beautiful. So this is what I was trying to tell you. We use what to emphasize the impossibility of the action to happen, whereas was is used when the action is impossible at the moment, but can be possible with time. For example, if my brother were a lion, he would eat every person. That is very correct. But you cannot say, if my brother was a lion, that means my brother is not a lion, but he has a chance of becoming a lion in the future. So that is where the distinction comes in. So that one becomes incorrect for you to say, if my brother was a lion. It is also correct for one to say if my brother was a teacher, because my brother is not a teacher right now, but has a chance of becoming a teacher in the future. And it becomes incorrect for you to say if my brother were a teacher, because that eliminates all the chances of him becoming the teacher. So that's where the difference is. And I am glad you have now mastered it. So here are some sentences. Change the following sentences to if to. We are going to do, yes, Sharom, you do number 1, and Shamad will do number 2, like that, and then we see where we shall be.
Okay, teacher.
Yes, you're excused.
Claire is also here. Claire's phone.
Mwiza, Ketra. Ketra, unmute your microphone.
Yes, teacher.
Good morning.
Good morning, teacher.
But you have come late, almost 30 minutes into the lesson. What happened?
Teacher, everyone knew there was a lesson today.
You do not know that there was a lesson. You need to check, dear one. You need
Because
to be...
my mom was in the phone.
Okay. You need to be in the know. Okay,
Yes.
is mom home?
Yes.
Is mom home?
Yes.
Okay, send my greetings to her. So you found us when we were learning about using, or rather if sentences. You found us when we were doing if to. I think you can start from here. For the earlier deliberations, you'll watch the video, okay? For the earlier deliberations.
Yes, teacher.
Is it okay?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so Sharon, number 1.
If I got money, I would buy a radio.
Say that again. I didn't hear that.
If I got money, I would buy a radio.
Very good. Shamad?
If I got enough money, I would start up a farm.
Very good. Sharon, number 3.
James would become rich if he cares and feeds his animal well.
Here there are 2 verbs which should all change. They should all change from present to past. From present simple.
Let me try again then.
Go ahead.
James would become rich if he cared and fed his animals well.
Very good. Shamad, number 4.
The goat would produce a lot if it fed well. If we fed it well. That goat would produce more if we fed it well.
So for the rest of the sentences, you actually have a lot of exercise. I think you have very many numbers, isn't it?
Yes.
So you will do the exercise. So this is the summary. If 1, the if clause is in the present simple tense. The main clause is in the future simple tense, like will come. If 2, the if clause is in the past tense. And then the main clause is in the conditional present tense, which is would come, like that. So lastly, let me look at if 3, and I think that will be all for today. If 3 is If three is used, in the past perfect tense, the perfect tense, the if clause is expressed in the past perfect tense, the past perfect tense, and conditional present perfect tense in the main clause. Now someone is wondering, teacher, you're speaking about the past perfect. The past perfect is represented by helping verb had. Okay, had. For example, when somebody says, if she had come, that is the past perfect tense. Had. Every time you hear had, then they put a verb. Had, then they put a verb. That is the past perfect tense. Is that clear? Let's get back to our number one. Now that you've learned how to form the past perfect tense, can you express the if clause of that sentence in the past perfect form or the past perfect tense?
Please
Who can do
repeat.
that for us?
Please repeat.
Go ahead.
Please repeat the question.
Sorry, what are you saying?
Could you repeat the question?
I said we have this sentence here. Yes, if Nancha passes PLE, she will join senior one. I want someone who has understood to express the if clause of this sentence in the past perfect tense.
Okay. Now, Kia would join senior one if she passed PLE.
No, you've not understood the instructions. And instructions are key in English. I said the if clause of the sentence should be expressed in the past perfect tense, not the entire sentence.
Okay. If Nankia passed PLE.
No, we said the past perfect tense is denoted by helping verb had plus the verb in its past participle, like had come, had run, had eaten. That is the past
Okay, I understand.
tense.
If Nankia had passed PLE.
That is what I wanted. If Nancha, actually the name is not Nakia, it is Nancha. Nancha.
Okay.
So Nancha. So that's what I wanted. So when they ask you to express this sentence in if three, the first step is to express the if clause in the past perfect tense. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes. Now we get to now how about the if sentence. Now the if sentence is expressed in a tense called the conditional present perfect tense. This one is conditional present tense. Yeah, this one is this one under if three is conditional present perfect. Now, how do we make conditional present perfect? We have the word would. From the word would, we add have, then plus the past participle. Now, when we talk about the past participle, these are words like eaten, like would say would have eaten, would have drunk. That's what we are meaning. This is what we mean when we say express it in the conditional present perfect tense. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes.
So let's get to this question here. Yes, now express the main clause in the conditional perfect present perfect tense.
Beg your pardon?
Would you express the main clause in the conditional perfect, in the conditional present perfect tense of this sentence?
Okay.
Go
He
ahead.
would have joined senior one.
Would have joined senior one. Excellent. Now, if they give you such a sentence and they ask you express it in if three, what will it be in if three?
I beg your pardon?
Express this sentence in if three.
If she passed PL.
Are you sure? We have just talked about how to formulate the if clause of if three. You are saying if she passed, really? Mm-hmm. Shalom and Shamad.
You said explain the if clause, right?
You express. We started by expressing the if clause in if three. Then we expressed the main clause in if three. Now what I'm trying to tell you is join and form an if three sentence out of this if one sentence. As simple as that.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. Are you there?
Yes, we are.
And then why not give me the answer?
It's just.
No, you cannot tell me you are failing. Didn't we express if one in the if clause in if three? I told you use the past perfect tense. We went and learned about the conditional present perfect tense, and I told you that's how you should express the main clause of if three. So where is the problem? Are you failing to join? Oh, really?
Oh,
Sharon?
yeah.
What is the problem? What didn't you understand? What didn't you understand?
You see, for if three,
What didn't you understand?
you said for if three, it's the future simple tense.
I didn't say about future simple tense. I said for if three, we use the past perfect tense in the main clause, and we use the conditional present perfect tense in the main clause. Those are the things that you should always
Okay.
remember.
Let me just try.
Go ahead.
If Nakia, Nakia would have joined PLE if she passed senior one. No, sorry,
No.
not if she
No,
passed
come on.
PLE.
Come on. No. Shamad,
Hi, teacher.
Oh, Lena's back.
Yes.
go ahead. Shamad?
Hi, Mr. Jonah.
Yes, Lena, you're back?
If
Mr.
Nakia,
Jonah.
Lena, you're back? Okay. Shamad, give us the answer.
Yes. Yes, I'm back.
Shamad?
if Nakia passed PLE, she would join senior one.
That is if two. We have just explained if that is if two, Shamad. Let's get serious here. We cannot be doing the same thing over and over again. We need to advance, isn't it?
Eh,
We need to advance. Let me explain once again. And I beg that you pay close attention, because you will need to do these things by yourself. You see, the answers you are giving me are all here. Nakia would join. That is if two. We talked about it earlier. We said in if three, this is the principal thing that you should remember. If three, we use the past perfect tense in the if clause. And I told you, do you know how to express any word, any sentence in the past perfect tense? You said no. So I told you the past perfect tense is denoted by the word had, helping verb had. So when you say had gone, that is the past perfect tense. Had gone, had anything you can think about, plus the verb in the past participle. Then we said the main clause is expressed in the conditional present perfect tense. We opened another slide and explained to you how to make the conditional present perfect tense. We said use the word would plus the word have plus a verb in the past participle. Words like would have eaten, would have drunk. That's how you express the main clause.
It's just we were mostly talking about if two over and over, so I forgot about if three.
No, we transferred, we moved from if one to if two. Now we are dealing with if three. Can someone express this sentence in if three? That's what
Okay.
my question.
Nakia would have joined senior one if she passed PLE.
That's wrong. You're saying if she passed, you are having what you call the mixed condition. Your if sentence is if two, your if clause is if two, your main clause is if three. You get the difference? Sharon?
Yes, I think. If Nakia passed PLE, she would have joined senior one.
That is still wrong. The if clause is in if two, the main clause is in if three. Listen to yourselves. Hello? I don't want to give you the answer. I want you to create the answer, because I know you can do this. I'm sure Shalom and Shamad, we explained very well. Because if I give you the answer, you will not remember. If you don't birth it, you will not remember it. Shalom, are you there?
Yes, I am.
What is the answer?
Can I first try with the if clause and then I can try with the joining?
What have you said?
First try with the if clause and then I will
You.
join it. So I can understand this properly.
You.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Nakia would have.
No. You begin with the if clause.
If Nakia would have.
If Nakia would have. Really? If Nakia would have. You are combining the if clause with the main clause. Come on, Shamad. Now let's go slowly. Can you yes, Lina, what do you want to say? Lina? Okay. The if two of this sentence would be if Nancha passed. We say this is if two. Okay, let me first write here. If one. Even our time is fast spent. If Nancha passed PLE, she would do. This is if two. She would do join.
You said that maybe
Senior one. This is if two. We all agree. If two. Okay. That is if two. Now, if three, we said if two, the main clause is in the past tense, the if clause is in the past tense, the main clause is in the conditional present tense. Then we said, this is what is beating you. If three, we said, the main clause is in the past perfect tense, which is had past. Then the main clause is in the conditional present perfect tense. She would have joined. As simple as that, senior one. As simple as that. There is nothing difficult here. If three. Sharon, is there anything difficult here, really? Sharon? Shamad? Is there anything difficult here?
hello.
They have even gone off. Okay,
Shabbat,
we
Shabbat
are
left.
going. Yeah, we are going to end here because our time is fast spent. For the rest of us, I think I will need to send you a video. See you very soon. Bye-bye.